What is happening, fellow fantasy GMs? I'm JJ Wang. He is the bearded one, DJ Dove. And with our powers combined, we are the Fantasy Couriers.
Yo, JJ Wang, it is time. We are in week 4, but the best is yet to come. We had a good Thursday night, but are you ready for a Sunday week 4?
I've been waiting all week for that. The the weeks are just so long. It's like just all day, every day. I'm just thinking, can't wait till Sunday. Can't wait till Sunday. It's what keeps me going through the week, man. Makes me smile. How you doing?
I'm living the dream. It's been a wonderful day. It's my wife's birthday this weekend, so we're going
Happy
to be
birthday.
celebrating today when the podcast comes out. And yeah, so we're ready for some football. Next year, her birthday will be on Football Sunday. I'm going to have to make her a fan really, really quick. But speaking of things to be fans of, the Fantasy Couriers are something we should all be fans of. Check us out on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can email us, thefantasycouriers@gmail.com. Our mailbox is getting kind of empty right now. Or check us out add some YouTube comments. You can click them right here below if you're watching the video. Or check us out on our website, thefantasycouriers.wixsite.com/website. All of that is in the notes of the podcast, the notes of the YouTube, however you're listening to us and enjoying the Fantasy Couriers this week. We have that goal still, 50 subscribers for September. Oh, too late. 50 subscribers for October. Let's go for it. Let's do it. Also, the DraftKings contest, I'll post them up probably Friday night or Saturday morning if anybody else wants to join. We got a group of 11. We're going to run another $1 a week. Congratulations to your brother-in-law for winning last week.
Yeah, don't think I didn't hear about that, man.
He beat.
I definitely won that. I'm so good. I'm so cool. It's like
Hey,
whatever, man. Good
he's
job.
got the belt right now.
Yeah, good job, Rich.
He's got the belt. So let's look at the week has begun. We last week ended the show by saying, well, there's gonna be a dumpster fire game between the Jaguars and Bengals. Daggone it. Why are we wrong again?
I mean, these Thursday usually the Thursday games aren't as good as the other ones, but this year they've been good so far. We had another good one last night. Another one was looking for. We was looking for. Everyone was looking forward to, mainly because of the quarterbacks, Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence. And Trevor didn't look as bad as he has in the previous games. I mean,
That
he
hurts to
did,
say, doesn't it?
he didn't throw any interceptions. No, like the stupid plays that he makes. He even got he ran a little bit. I think he had 36 yards. Had a touchdown too. He didn't throw any touchdowns, but he didn't throw any picks. Just not bad. I mean, I will take it. I'll take it for now. I mean, you're not really starting him unless you have to, as far as fantasy goes. But he'll
Yeah.
get there. On the other end, you got Joe Burrow. The first half wasn't great. Then the second half, they just come out and just started. They just started lighting it up. I think threw for almost 300 yards in the second half. Uh, but yeah, Jacksonville, they missed that 4th and 1 at the end of the first half. Could have put them up
Mm.
21-0. That was big. Could have gave it to James Robinson, gave him another touchdown, but let Trevor attempt the run there. How do you feel about it?
It was painful. I was against Joe Burrow, I think everywhere on the face of the planet Earth. So I'm sitting there getting a halftime like, hot dog. Things are looking good for me. I had a Trevor steak. So he's looking pretty good. I thought he should have maybe not ran for the 4th and 1, but what can you say? Hindsight's 2020. James Robinson was scoring a lot. I mean, that would have been a good place to take their new toy Dan Arnold and curl him out a little bit there on the right, or Visco is having, but it's like questioning that classic Seattle Seahawks play on when
Yep.
they passed on the 1 yard line. They did the pass and they didn't get it. So what are you going to say? But Burrow looked good. Burrow is looking good as advertised. T Law's just got to learn the game. T Law's got to get there. It's gonna take time, especially on a team. But I was talking to a buddy today. I remember last week you said that you thought the Jags might be the worst team, and they didn't play horribly. So I get to stand by my Jets being the worst team. And
I'm gonna agree with you on that. I think I take that back. I think the Jets are definitely the worst team. Jacksonville has actually been in the last 2 games. I think they had a 17. I think they was up 17 on Arizona. I think
I forget
Four,
the number.
was something like that. And then it was up 14 here. But the second half just comes around and they just lose it. But our boy James Robinson,
Oh
definitely not
baby.
a fluke, playing really well again this year. So 78 yards on 18 carries, 2 touchdowns. That's two good games in a row. He's obviously got that backfield all to himself again.
It helps that Carlos Hyde was out.
Oh yeah, that does
That's
help
30
too.
yards.
But there's just nobody else behind him. I think he can be a pretty reliable fantasy option from here going forward. But they did have an injury. To Chark, I guess he fractured his ankle. Did not look good. It gives us a chance to talk about your boy. You want to talk about him a little bit?
Oh, Visca. Looks like I might be right. Too bad we didn't make a bet on this one. I'll be right by default. Hate to see a guy go down, especially a guy as talented as Chark to go down. I was like, oh, and that was early on. Visca finally got a chance to be the number one. Marvin Jones decided to act his age and 7 targets, 6 catches, 1 yard shy of 100. If they had passed him on the 1 yard line, he'd have a touchdown. But he just looked solid. He looked like the player that those of us fanboys of Laviska Shenault thought he would be in the preseason. It's a shame he's on my bench everywhere. So he almost gets the thanks for nothing week, but it makes me hopeful for the future. Like this will give them really, they're not going to win anything. So I think they're going to see what they got here. They're going to basically run James Robinson to see what they can sell him for because apparently they don't like him, even though he's great. And
Best
that
player on
touchdown
team.
run that they did the replay to catch. He earned that touchdown.
Oh yeah.
And Visca, they're gonna find out is he because he looks his routes look smooth. He looked like he was getting open. And I mean, when you're catching 6 out of 7 passes, you're not dropping them, and you're in places where the quarterback can hit you. And he had half of Trevor's yards, so if I'm getting 50% of the catching from the quarterback. Wait till he throws a 400-yard game.
I know, right? This guy have a heck of a game. Jumping over to the other side, Cincinnati's wide receivers. We have Jamar Chase playing the second fiddle of Tyler Boyd tonight. Tyler Boyd blew up at 118 yards on 11 targets. That's crazy. 9 catches. Chase, I think, had 6 for
77.
77, I
Hmm.
believe. He didn't get the touchdowns like he has been in his first few games. Obviously, that was the difference in his fantasy numbers. He's never been like the yards guy. He hasn't been the yards guy yet, but he's been those. He's been
Yeah.
getting those touchdowns, and the touchdowns are hard to gauge. You can't rely on those every week. So I mean, it might be a little up and down for Chase, and you're gonna get these kind of games out of Boyd. He's like that drop down guy that quarterback's best friend. But I mean, he's a solid wide receiver, low end wide receiver too. That's what I feel. I mean, he's been like that for the last 2 years, I guess. Pretty solid.
He's that wide receiver too. You play and then you vomit a little bit. Then you hope he has that week. He'll get you. You figure what 55 yards, probably a week guaranteed. Couple of catches. I mean, this week 11 targets, 9 receptions. I mean, Chase still had 9 targets. So they're basically playing together. So next week it could be Chase gets 11, Boyd gets 9. But Higgins. It depends how long Higgins is out too. So with Higgins out, this could have been Boyd's big week and then he's going to slide back into the 3. But I mean, realistically, those two weren't the best receiver on the team this week. They might have had yards, but we know who the star of the show was this week.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty impressive. I mean, this
Four
guy's
fire ways to 2 touchdowns.
yep. He comes around every so often to get people excited. But CJ Uzama has some big plays. It might be the only 2 touchdowns he gets all year. We might not end up saying his name again. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely not somebody you can start as your tight end. But this actually might jump him in the top 10 tight ends by
Oh,
the end
he's
of the
he's got to
week.
be in the top 5. I mean, you got
Yeah.
the big Waller week in it, and then Hawkinson. Then it's been like nickel and diming everybody else in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, it was quite the game we had this week. Next week's game looks like it's gonna be stellar, so that means it's gonna suck so bad that we're gonna turn the TV off at halftime when you get Seattle versus Los Angeles Rams. Correct? I believe that's next week. And
Was that the game next Thursday?
I let me make sure. I had this prepared. I thought I was pretty sure it was the game next Thursday. We
I'm
sound
pretty,
so professional here. Yeah, Rams at Seattle next week is the game, so I'm not losing my mind. So that game is going to be stellar, meaning 7-3, and we have nothing to talk about.
we might end up having to dedicate a whole show to that, just to that game.
Could be just you mean Cooper Cup.
Yeah.
So let's get ready. Let's head on into the rest of the week. We know that game is over. I can say some people aren't as lucky as me. I had a team with Mixon and our boy James Robinson as my running backs this week, but I had a lot of people that were playing Burrow against me. Dang nabbit. So Another thing that's really slapping me in the head, and probably a lot of other people, are Tennessee's wide receivers, AJ Brown and Julio Jones. Both are out this week. So there is a silver lining. They play the worst team in the National Football League. So they did give me a call. I will be heading down to Tennessee. I will be their starting slot receiver
Nice.
this Sunday because Tannehill knows I still have his Dolphins jersey,
Pick you
and
up.
we'll
I'll
be
pick you
there
up on
to
waivers.
go. I wouldn't. But what are your thoughts going in? Who are we thinking? Are we thinking the same guy, or are they
So
just
we
going to
got.
run,
So
run,
who do we
run?
got? We got Chester. Is it Chester Rogers and
The
what's
rookie.
what's the other guy's name?
I've got to pull up the rookie's name. I
Nick.
had it typed, and then I deleted it by
Is it
accident.
Akina, or I think it's like Nick Akina
Aquafina.
or something like that. But yeah, I mean, he has 53 yards and a touchdown. Chester Rogers only had that one touchdown. I think he had like a 6 yard catch or something for a touchdown. But yeah, going into the season, we thought AJ Brown would be a solid number one. There's always questions on Julio. We know Julio doesn't play every game, but he's always got that nagging injury. Hopefully, this isn't how it turns out all year, but who knows? And as far as the two wide receivers go, I'm not looking to play them in any way. I just assume they'd give Derrick Henry the ball 40 times and he'd drop another 200-yard, 3 touchdown game. That's how I would see it. I don't. How would you feel about starting Ryan Tannehill? Would you start him?
Probably not. But then I'm gonna say that he is one of those. If you're in two quarterback league, 100% you're gonna start him because he's a player. If you're in a one quarterback league, check the waiver wire, see what you're streaming. But I'm going to disagree on Nick Westbrook Aquina, the Tennessee wide receiver who made our surefire waste to a touchdown on Tuesday with his 18-yard touchdown. There have been a lot of good things coming out of camp. If there's a receiver you're going to sneaky throw in there, I mean, I bid up on him in some leagues.
I see
It's
that.
it's the $18 tonight. I'm almost out of money, but it's the rookie because Tannehill and some of the coaching staff are coming out saying that he is solid. Their faith is in him, and they've got to throw to somebody. Derrick Henry cannot catch all the balls, cannot throw all the balls. I mean, is
But he
Ferguson
can
still hurt?
run every play.
I mean, as long as there's only 41 plays in the entire game, will he run every play? It's what it's going to take. But if you are in dire straits, I've got him. I'm not going to start him. I think there's one league where I have to start him because I have AJ Brown.
Okay.
But have you seen my dynasty team in our new startup?
I have seen
I
that.
do have to start him there, I think. But I'm not as worried about starting him as I am about some other people because I think he's going to get enough targets to warrant a low end wide receiver 3 with a wide receiver 1 ceiling because there's nobody else. If he gets 2 touchdowns and 50 yards, it's the Jets. Come on, dude.
I mean, maybe this is where the Jets get that win. So,
Yeah.
would you start Ryan Tannehill or Taylor Heineke?
Ooh, the football team. I'd start Tyler Heineke. It's the
Going,
Falcons.
going against Falcons. That's what I just picked. I just picked him up off the waivers a second ago because I had Tannehill. I'm really not confident in Tannehill. He's been all right, but like I said, missing those two wide receivers. They're going to hand the ball to Derrick Henry a lot. I'd have a hard time putting any trust in him.
Tannehill or Mac Jones. That
Oh,
was a bad one. Teddy
I,
Bridgewater
you know,
against
I'd
the Ravens.
probably, I'd probably go Teddy Bridgewater. At least he's got some starting wide receivers, as
Yeah.
there. Because and he, other than last week, Bridgewater's played pretty well. I think he's dropped 2 20-point games the first 2 games of the season, and last week they just really didn't need to do anything. Were
Jameis
they,
Winston.
were they playing the Jets last week? Is that who they beat 25-0?
Yeah.
Was that game? But
Hey, how about Jameis Winston versus the Giants or Ryan Tannehill versus the Jets? There's the key. Then we'll move on.
I'm going to go Tannehill because Jameis Winston can't seem to get over 125 passing yards.
That's where that was gonna be my only thing. He's gonna throw for a buck 25 and no touchdowns, or a buck 25 and 7
I can't
touchdowns.
put my
Those are your
faith
two
in that.
choices. So moving on from, I mean, it's the Jets. Why are we wasting our time? What Tennessee wide receivers don't have to play. They're probably totally healthy. They're like, Coach, we can play. He's like, yes, but we're playing the Jets, and we want to keep this as a competitive balance that the NFL wants us to make it. We know Derek's going to run for 370 yards and catch 50 passes for another 200 yards. Those are all fictitious stats. Anybody who's actually keeping track of our stats there,
It'd be
but
cool if they weren't.
But there's two star tight ends. One's coming back to being a star that could be out this week. We're talking about Kittle and Gronk. Kittle was running on the sidelines today. Gronk, well, it's just what we're used to with Gronk over the years. He's going to be like lights out. Or what? Did you get donked again? What's going on, dude? What are your thoughts this week?
So I know, I do know when he got hit pretty hard on that play that evidently hurt his ribs. He went into the tent. He got hit pretty hard. I don't blame you for being out. But yeah, this is the story of Gronk's career. 3 or 4 good games, he gets hurt, and then you're like, oh man, then he'll come back another 3 or 4 good games. But it's surprising me that he's not going to try to rough it out because it is against the Patriots. Do you think he'd want to come back and
Mhm.
try, maybe get a touchdown or something?
Maybe he doesn't care. He's like, we're by you. We don't care. We're better than you.
Well, you know who does care? Tom Brady. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, it's coming up.
And as far as Kittle goes, it's disappointing, man. He had a good game last week. Thought he was coming back. Thought he was going to be that Kittle of old, but now injured again. I hope it doesn't. I hope this isn't what his career turns into. But
I think
hasn't
Kittle
been
has a better
reliable so
he
far.
has a better chance to play than Gronk. That it really is gonna come down to almost literally can I function? Gronk, what is he soft like Tua? I don't know. Like Tua's on IR. Is Gronk going to IR next because his poor little ribs hurt? Dude, I can't even imagine. But
Exactly.
it's one of those things, and I think Gronk doesn't really care about the Patriots. He's like, I'm going for the ring. I'm gonna stay here. If it means I sit out this week versus that minor league Patriots team, I'm willing to do it. Now, let's say that you have a team that has Gronk and Kittle as your starting tight ends. I'm not going to mention anybody like me who has that option. What is out there that might, like, without not even looking at our waiver wire, but what is a tight end that's probably in the 15 to 30 range that you might be sneaking in there?
Oh man, I have no clue. My history on tight ends is not good. Maybe Max. What about Max Williams?
Hey, I've got him on a couple leagues. I'm in these
Arizona,
real
maybe.
Max Williams popping in there. Conklin was a name in my
Oh,
head.
Conklin. There you. I picked him up. I picked him up somewhere this week. So yeah, that's another good one. Would you play for Gronk? Would you if Gronk was out? Are you interested in like maybe OJ Howard? Maybe.
Would it be OJ Howard or Cameron Brate? Um, Either of those, because I don't think so. OJ Howard, I would never play because I just think he's horrible. He hasn't shown anything, and I've had him times and times again, and just has not amounted to anything. So probably not. If I had to gamble, I would go Brate over him. But I think what's going to happen probably is Antonio Brown will come back and fill in that hot. They'll just use the three receivers and not worry about the tight end. Is my honest thing I'm thinking about there. So I probably wouldn't go Tampa Bay route, but I would look around the league. Like a Conklin's a good thing. Max Williams would be a good pickup. I got him there because I mean another guy that's out this week. I didn't even put here on the docket. Jared Everett with COVID
Oh yeah,
probably won't be ready as well. So I
Will
have him in
Disley,
there.
right?
What?
Will Disley get a
Oh, we're gonna be
shot?
whistling Disley. I might put some Disley in. That's a good call. I love Disley. Those 2 games he played were stellar. So,
He'll get hurt. He'll start,
oh,
have a great game, and
he
then tear
will.
his ACL or something.
It's Achilles, always Achilles.
Oh,
So isn't it, man? So Curtis Samuel is supposedly making his debut for the Washington football team. Look at that fandom. We got it right this week. He's going to make his start for the Washington football team this week. What can we expect out of Curtis Samuel this week and
I'm
going
not.
forward even?
I'm not too sure. I mean, I like Curtis Samuel. He's that weapon. He's that weapon type. I think he kind of complements Terry McLaurin a little bit. Um, like I said, I'm not really sure. I know the coach. He has familiarity with the coach, so we kind of know what kind of usage he's going to get. Maybe probably get a couple run plays. But I mean, I wouldn't expect. Honestly, I wouldn't expect too much. Uh, I guess he would probably fill in as number two immediately, right?
I'm assuming he's number two, and I thought myself out of what I was going to say. Actually, as you're saying stuff, he knows the coach. Heineke was a quarterback for him in Carolina, so the good news is they'll know each other at least. I think he still's got to get back up to game speed. That being said, he's probably going to crush us. He's one of those that if you need a wide receiver three, I would put him in. I wouldn't put him in if I needed two. If I had two receivers, but if you have like one of those where you have like a gajillion flexes or you need a three, he's worth a shot against Atlanta, but if there's better options out there, I mean, he would probably be if I did weekly rankings, he'd probably be right up there in the mid to high 30s. So that would put him close to being serviceable because he'll probably get some catches in that game because I'm seeing a shootout coming in this game that both have quarterbacks that like to sling it. We see some decent receivers and defenses that are suspect. So that he could surprise, but I wouldn't bank on him.
Hopefully, we get a breakout from your boy Calvin Ridley, right?
Uh,
We'll see.
uh, Oh, Calvin. I don't know. Or Russell Gage plays a game. I got him some places too.
That could
So
really be
the
it.
really I think one of the better we got 3 games that I think are the best games of the week, and we'll just do some quick hits as we go through these games, then give our starts tips of the week. Panthers Cowboys in about 2 or 3 sentences. What do you think makes this game go, or who wins even, or why do they win, or how do they win?
I think the Panthers defense is playing really well. I know they got one of their cornerbacks went down, so they just traded for CJ Henderson from
Mhm.
Jacksonville, so they kind of cover that up a little bit. But I think it's going to come down to the Cowboy offense. I mean,
Yeah.
if the Cowboy offense is going to be throwing up points, so they're going to be tough to beat. I'm not sure. I mean, we all know my love for Sam Darnold, but I don't know if Sam Darnold can win a shootout. I don't think we haven't seen that yet. They've been
Yeah.
relying on defense. So if their defense can play well and hold the Cowboys, hold the Cowboys down a little bit, I mean they got a great chance.
Yeah.
But I think that Cowboy offense might just be a little too much.
I'll be rooting for the Panthers defense because one of my big matchups is against basically every Cowboy in the world, except for I got Zeke, so hopefully Zeke does well. But you'd be proud of me. I was asked some fantasy advice today, and I took the side of Sam Darnold,
Yeah,
and
see,
then
you're
I
learning.
followed it up with 2 puke emojis. But I followed it because it was the best advice for the day. I mean, he's playing good. I can't deny that he's playing good, and at this point, his value could tank, but I think it's going to go up as he's playing. As much as it makes me sick, if you're in desperation and you made the good waiver choice, start Chuba Hubbard this week. He is
Oh
their
yeah,
number one. McCaffrey's officially ruled out. They said they're going to give him the ball. Royce Freeman might be there. He might get some dink and dunks, but they're going to give Chuba every chance to play because they're looking at him as could he be the eventual? I think they're looking at could he be the eventual successor, or do we have a healthy guy that we could use so that McCaffrey doesn't get the living tar kicked out of him because he is getting a little long in the tooth and might need a little bit of that rest every now and then. I think it's sort of an audition for him, and I think he's either going to overdo it and do it some of the young guys have done in the past, or he's going to have a solid game. It's not going to be a top. I could see him maybe fit between 11 and 20, not 1 through 10, but somewhere in there easily.
yeah. I mean, I can see that. I mean, if he can especially if he can get a touchdown, I think it's pretty much a lock as a top 20 RB. And by the way, I think Sam Darnold is a top 12 quarterback at the moment.
Oh, yes.
I think he is number 12.
I thought
So
he was 11. Okay, so
oh,
yeah,
he might be 11. So
somewhere in there. Yeah.
he's right there. So kudos to Sam Darnold. Tell us
Let's
about the
go to a
next
real
game.
shootout. Are you ready for a
Yeah.
shootout? Let's talk Cards and Rams. Kyler Murray versus Matt Stafford.
Ah, this is gonna be fun.
Oh, I gotta go look. I hope it's a late game because I don't want to have to
It's
watch the
probably the
Dolphins
four.
game.
It's probably the 4 o'clock. It's gotta be the four
It's
o'clock game.
4:05.
Yeah,
It's
it's
the
4
only
o'clock.
them and the Seahawks 49ers start at 4:05. Yeah, well, that's gonna be great. That's gonna be great. I gotta convince my son that that's what we're doing Sunday afternoon. That game's gonna be a shootout. So, are we playing everybody? I guess the real question is in this game, who don't you play?
As far as receivers go, I think you're playing the main ones. I mean, of course, you're playing Cup and Robert Woods most likely. Hopefully, we get that breakout game from Robert Woods. Um, Deshaun Jackson, if you want a flyer, I mean, if you're desperate and you just need that boomer bust. I mean, he might be possible start. And then on the Cardinals, I mean, they've got like 4 receivers that you could possibly start. AJ Green, Rondale Moore. It's iffy though. I'm not really sure. He had that big game 2 weeks ago, and then he
Yeah.
came back down to earth
Oh, I
really
know.
bad. And then Christian Kirk's playing pretty solid. And of course, you got DeAndre Hopkins. Hopefully, he's over that injury that kind of held him back a little bit. But I think as far as receivers go, if you've got them, I mean, you might as well play them in this game.
Okay, real question then. We know that the Cards is D Hop, the Rams is Cooper Cup. You got to start. You can only start one other pass catcher from either team. Who's it going to be? Pick one from each.
So I got to pick.
A Cards number two and a Rams number two.
So I'm going to go. I'm going to go AJ Green,
Yep.
and I think Deshaun Jackson will get more. He might not have the catches as the Robert Woods, but I think he might. I think he goes 2 games in a row where he gets that bomb touchdown, and that's going to send him over the top. So I go AJ Green and Deshaun Jackson.
I think we're thinking alike. Like Djax was mine. I didn't really have one for the Cards in my mind, but you could have argued me anyway. But Djax, like Bobby Woods right now is in my doghouse. We know our
Yeah.
love for Bobby Woods, but I'm done with him for now. Ravens and Broncos. Who do you trust?
Well, I'm not trusting anybody. Like, like, like the,
Thanks.
like the only person that I can honestly say that that you can start is Lamar Jackson, right? You can't
Yep.
really start the receivers. I guess Mark Andrews. I guess you could, but like I said, he's not playing great. And as far as the Broncos, I don't. I guess you could start. I guess you're going to start Cortland Sutton,
Yeah.
Tim Patrick. I guess you're going to start them, but do I trust them? I don't. I don't trust them at all, and I don't trust the running game for either team as well because you just don't know who's going to get the carries. I mean, with
Are these
Denver,
the same teams? Are they? I mean, except for Lamar's running,
yeah,
good tight end, okay receivers. I did hear that Hollywood Brown did invest in he got some stock in Gorilla Glue this week.
she
So
better.
he should be okay. And it might stick to his gloves. They might not just slide right through. Which tight end would you start?
I do. I'm thinking we're going to go fan. I think it's a toss up, but
Yeah.
I mean I like fan. That's just because I got more fan stock than I got Mark Andrews. Just hoping he
Mark
blows
Andrews.
up. But also for the Ravens, I think Rashad Bateman's coming back.
About ready to say that, yes.
I think Miles Boykin, I think, might be back.
Hmm.
So I mean, they've got all their receivers healthy. I mean, they're not going to catch any balls, but I mean, they're all healthy. They're there for Lamar Jackson to throw them. Just hopefully, I mean, I like Bateman. Hopefully, he can show us something. I mean, he was getting some pretty positive reviews before the season started. Once the season started,
So yeah, it should be an entertaining game to see either both defenses play really good or one just crush the other. Or it's I'm worried because I have some Broncos defensive stock because they had some pretty cruddy games. Like I don't want to get rid of them because they looked pretty nice. But as we close out the show, we got a couple starts or tips of the week for you. Mine starts with Tampa Bay. If they can catch a ball in Tampa Bay, start them. Tom Brady is going to want to show Bill Belichick in the world that he is the greatest. He is truly the GOAT, not just a GOAT by us saying it, some of us giving in after 15 years of arguing he's not. I see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking the Patriots to the woodshed, beating them, then taking them to the next woodshed, beating them a little more, and then the game's over because the Patriots just can't finish the game because there's no one left to beat because they are going to beat them so amazing. Like Tom Brady, if you can get him, start him. If you got Deli Fantasy, start him. Tampa Bay receivers, I'd start all three. Running backs, no, they stink. But pass catchers, oh,
so if you're saying pass catcher, is Giovanni Bernard in that, or are you staying away from him?
if you're in dire straits, why not? If you have Dalvin Cook there and he ends up not playing, right now he's leaning towards playing. If you got some guys that might all of a sudden stash him, throw him in there, why not? I mean, he looks good. Looks like he looked like the Geo of old. He looked like James White is what he looked like
Does,
last week.
does Brady
God
throw
rest
the
his
ball
soul
50?
as he's
Does
going off
Brady
the
throw
field.
the ball 50 times?
He wants to. We'll see if he does, but I think this is the game where he wants to make that statement. He's not saying anything because Tom Brady hasn't. I heard a good, funny analogy. You know, when Brady to Patriots, we all hated him. He was like the stoic guy. Now we all like him. He's like a nice, fun guy. He like smiles, he laughs. He's doing those commercials. That Subway commercial with the bread is it kills me.
It's, it's, yeah, he's a hard guy not to. I mean, yeah, he's a hard guy not to like. I mean,
Now,
you're a Dolphins fan, so
yeah, it was
I mean,
painful.
you've had reasons to not like him. But like I said, I eventually came around on the guy too. But I'm gonna go with not necessarily a start, but more of a worry, maybe a little bit. I'm gonna go with Jonathan Taylor. He hasn't started off the best of the season. I think he's averaging like just 4 yards a carry. But his first 3 games read like this: 17 for 56, 15 for 51, and then he had a 10 for 64. Good numbers, yards per carry, but not a lot of carries for a rather close game. And the biggest thing, he doesn't have any touchdowns yet. I know it's only 3 games.
Yeah.
He's got what, Miami coming up this week, I think. So I mean, Miami's not a great defense. So if he's going to play well, I feel like this would have to be his make or break before you're worried that you have to set him, right? Because I mean, most people drafted him in the first round. I'm not really sure.
This week you start him. I've watched the Dolphins play every game, almost every minute, and their run defense, which should be not bad, it looks pretty putrid. Peyton Barber ran for I think 99 yards, maybe.
Was
He
it?
ran for 90 some odd, or did he go over 100? He
I
ran
think it
for
was over 100,
119. He ran
113
for
or
a ton
something.
of yards last year.
Yeah.
This Peyton Barber, Jonathan Taylor ate Peyton Barber for breakfast this morning. So I really think Jonathan Taylor, and the problem's going to be though, this week you're going to get confident because the Dolphins defense is going to let him eat. And then next week it might be back to what it was. But
Yeah, he's got Baltimore the the next week.
yeah, so that's going to be a different game. Like Dolphins defense is not great against runners. They're excellent against pass catchers. So the people to be worried about would be the other guys. But Taylor this week, starting with full confidence, knowing you're going to get a ton of yards. We get tough when within the 20-yard line, so we'll see if he scores a touchdown. I imagine he will. I mean, if I had to play some money line, I would put about 120 in a touch for him.
I hope so because I mean he's given fantasy owners absolutely zero so
Yeah.
far this season. So he's gonna have to try something here. We
So
need
my
we need
guy
something.
is real quickly start David Carr until further notice. That dude's been disrespected probably more than Sam Darnold. Like Sam Darnold's been loved forever. Everyone's hated Derek Carr forever. I probably said David earlier. I always say David, but Derek
I always
Carr,
say Dave.
start him forever. Start Carr as long as you can until he proves us wrong. I wish I hadn't traded him away for peanuts in another league, but I just needed receivers. But he's playing lights out. He led the team to that 2 second left in overtime win that to break my heart, but he's playing great. He's got the confidence of that locker room. Get on that train.
Yeah, I mean, top 12 quarterback. You can't bench him at this point. I mean, you
Mm.
got to ride it until he cools off, and he might not cool off. I mean, if I'm not, he's done this before, right? Where he had a good, what was it, 3 years ago? He had a really good season. 2 years ago, he had a really good season.
Yeah.
Not sure, but yeah, I mean, he's got the weapons. Gruden's going to let him throw it all over the place. So yes, start him. Start him 100% confidence. Can't argue that. So I got a quarterback question for you. The league that I'm in, I need to start two quarterbacks. My quarterbacks are Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, and Tom Brady. So which two do you? I really want to start Brady, being that he went to the Patriots.
What does the other guy in the league think?
What's that? No,
What does the other guy in the league think? Like, in my mind of minds, I'm
Well, to
setting.
be fair, I did draft Prescott and Allen. I drafted both of them, and I'm pretty sure I
I'm
got
setting
Brady.
Dak.
I got Brady from you, I believe. I think.
I'm setting Dak.
Are you saying that? I think that's the route I was going to go.
Yeah, because Brady's gonna ball out. Bills have the Texans. They're gonna ball out. Like I think I mean, you're choosing between three prom queens here, so you pick the. But I think if you got to base it on stats, it's straight up Panthers are 3-0, have a great defense. I wouldn't overthink it. No matter what you do, it's gonna be the wrong choice. I would go with that, move on, and live happily ever after.
Yeah,
So
I
here
think
we
that's.
go, JJ Wang. To close this out, I'm gonna give you 5 quick hits. Are you ready?
Yes,
Okay, over under uh 25 carries for Derrick Henry.
over.
Over. Over under 8 catches for CD Lamb.
I'm going to go under.
Over or under 125 yards passing for Justin Fields.
I'm going over.
Over under 30 points for the Bills.
And they were playing who again? They were playing the Texans,
Texans.
right? Oh yeah, I'm going over.
And what's the score to the Cardinals Rams game?
The combined score or
Each who
so
wins and
we'll
how much?
go 37-34. I don't know if that's a normal. That doesn't sound like a normal
You never
score.
know how things end up going into
Yeah,
that.
I'll go 37-34.
Go for it. Okay. Well, guys, it is week 4. JJ Wang. Hopefully you enjoyed all of our chatter. We might have ran a little long, so hopefully you had an extra 5 minutes on this Saturday or Sunday when you're listening to us. JJ Wang, take us out of here.
Oh, no problem. Great. Look forward to week 4. It's going to be a blast. And as always, trust yourself and trust the process.